November the 4th. Guys, I don't know, it's hard not to be sucked into what's happening down south. Boy, oh boy, what a crazy, crazy election. And I guess we'll see. I was hoping to have some interesting news. I was ready to actually do a podcast on how to move to Canada if Trump was elected. And at this stage, it's all in limbo. So everything's been held in abeyance. So this video today, this episode, is going to be obviously focused on what's happening in Canada and the US. I'm going to cover a few real cool things we're doing with our firm, and then we're going to jump to all of your listener questions. So I'll see you guys in just a second. All right, you guys, this is Canadian immigration lawyer Mark Holthe, back and super excited to be here doing another live Q&A. I'm wearing my my Canada Maple Leaf shirt today, just as a little shout out to all of you lovely fans of the Canadian flag. And I'll tell you, after watching what's happening in the US and seeing this election, I'll be honest, I am so grateful that I live in this amazing country that I call home. All right, guys, so let's see here. What I want to do first is I just want to, while everybody's tuning in and connecting, I'm going to tell you guys something. I am still wrestling a little bit with the feed. So let me know, you guys, if there is an issue, both on YouTube and those of you who are tuning in on YouTube, YouTube and Facebook. Let me know if there's any lagging issues, because we're trying to isolate exactly where the problem is. So just post in the comments if there's a little bit of an issue and we'll address it. But I'm hoping that it's going to be fine like it was last week. Now, here's what I want to flip over to. I want to show you guys. We're going to flip over here. There is some really wonderful news that I want to announce, and it has nothing to do with the US, and it's all about Canada. So what I want to show you guys here is that the Minister of Immigration right here, Marco Mendicino, he recently released Canada's new recovery plan that uses immigration to help us move forward. So it's kind of interesting because right now in Alberta, they are restricting work permits and are restricting immigration, which is a very Trump-esque kind of approach, which is a little frustrating. But fortunately, our federal government recognizes the importance of immigration. So what does that mean for all of you guys? Let's take a quick look at what they've announced here. So on October the 30th, about 5 days ago, last week, they announced that there was going to be, well, I should say it was our dear Minister of Immigration, Marco Mendicino. He announced that that the levels planning, they were going to stick with their goals. And what is their goal? Right here, that about 1% of the population of Canada, that's what they're going to be shooting for immigration. So that's about 401,000 permanent residents in 2021, 411 in 22, 421 in 23. And then you'll see here that the previous plan set targets at 351 and 361. So in light of this whole crazy pandemic, this guy right here says we value immigration. And in fact, we're going to put our money where our mouths are, essentially. And so this looks really good for you guys. And why, if we continue to look forward through here, you can see the actual highlights of the plan. So an increase in admissions over 3 years of the plan to make up the shortfall in 2020. What does that mean? It means that I don't personally see them restricting, and they're not, the number of individuals that are coming in. They are, in fact, going to expand. And yes, the travel restrictions are keeping many of you guys out. But understand, once they're lifted, the doors are going to open, which is very cool. And you can see here, within these numbers, understand these numbers here are not just economic. I should say the ones, this 1% of the population, it includes all categories of immigration. And I'm not going to get into all the other, refugee or family class or that type. But economic alone, you can see right here, is focused on 60% of the admissions. Okay. So of those numbers, 60% are going to be focused on economic. And that's you guys that are express entry. You guys that are coming in through the provincial nominee programs. All right. And you can see that they're focused on innovation and community-driven approaches to addressing labor and demographic needs across the country. What does that mean? Well, that means that they are looking at doing more partnerships with local communities, provincial nominee programs, to have programs that pull people into those areas of our country that immigrants don't normally go to. So Alberta actually has jumped on that bandwagon. They have an entrepreneur program that's designed for students in Alberta. They've got some other ones that they're looking at, startup visas and things like that for STEM students in the US, for example. And we'll talk more about that in 2021 when they actually get ready to release it. But this is one of the things that I think most of you who have been accessing the government systems, this is what I want to see really happen the fastest. It's right here, a renewed commitment to capacity building, in other words, being able to handle more applications, and a digital transformation of Canada's immigration system. Yeah, the MyCIC portal sucks. I hate it. It's constantly kicking us out. I'm constantly having an inability to get in. Even through my representative portal, same thing, flipping between browsers, clearing the cache, the thing timing out every 20 seconds. It is a nightmare. So that's one thing I'll say to immigration. My goodness, make this one a super big priority, because if you are planning to bring in this many people, 401,000 in 21, 411 in 22, 421,000 in 2023, you better get your systems in order. And it's going to take time, absolutely. Any type of a rollout of a new system at a government global level is going to be a logistical nightmare, but I think they've got the RFP out there. So I wanted to share that with all of you guys and just give you some really good news that Canada is open. So if we ship over here to CNN, a historic race hangs in the balance. Dun, 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 dun. Well, the reality is, one of the pillars of Trump's campaign is to restrict immigration. Well, if he gets in, I'll tell you, I know my business is going to be booming, because another 4 years of Trump, well, I guess we'll see. We'll let the American people determine whether they want to come to the true north strong and free, which is our awesome country of Canada. All right, so I wanted to give you the quick little shout outs there. Let's flip over now and let's see who's tuned in here. And as I shift down, it looks to me like I don't see too many individuals indicating that the feed is bad, which is good. So we've got some thumbs up here. That's awesome. All right, now let's see who's tuning in here. I'm going to flip over to my comment view, and we have, okay, Sandra's here. Hi, Sandra. Okay, Angelos. Yes, my friend. He's saying, okay, Mark, when will we have the next draw? Well, let's take a look what he's talking about, guys. Let's take a look. So we're going to flip over here. We're going to jump over here and take a look, guys. It is Wednesday. When was the last draw? The last draw, you can see, was October the 14th. Open draw, no program specified. 471 was the total, and there has not been another draw since. So the question that we have here is very, very valid. When will the next draw happen? Well, it's possible. There have been times before where they actually released that next draw right during this live Q&A. So I'm going to monitor it. If you guys see it, you can keep refreshing this screen right here that we're looking at. You can keep refreshing this one here. And if you see it change, then do a shout out. Let me know, and we'll flip back and we'll take a look at it. Now, some people may say, okay, Mark, well, what's your prognostication? What do you think the draw is actually going to be? So if they do another round of invitations, what's it going to be? Well, personally, it's been over 2 weeks. We're pushing 3 weeks now, almost, for this draw since the last one happened. And so in my opinion, if there is another draw and if it's open, I think we're going to be probably more closer to about 475. That's my guess, just because of the time that it's now given for people to put in new profiles, those in the highest ranks to fill in. So that's my guess. All right. Okay, let's jump down and let's see what we've got here going on. Cybertruck999 says, hey, Mark, you are the man. Cybertruck, Your handle is awesome. You need an image of like this big truck. That's hilarious. That's awesome. All right. Okay. Okay, so we've got Zishan is with you from Dubai. Awesome. And yeah, always list where you're listening from. Vineet, we've got the Melbourne connection here. Aman says hi and gives a wave. Arpit gives me the thumbs up. Woo! Yes, very happy with that. Okay. Let's see here what Ravi says. He says, hey, I hope you're doing well. What are your thoughts on the recent news related to immigration targets for the next 3 years? Do you think CRS cutoff score will drop or not? No, I do not think, well, I don't think that it's really going to depend upon the number of people that are trying to get in. So there's a couple factors at play here. One of them, and I'm actually going to flip back right now, Ravi, because you've asked this question. So I'm going to flip back to the website and we're going to take a look at the plan and I want to show you something. So you'll see here, additional points for French-speaking candidates under express entry to promote the growth of Francophone communities outside of Quebec. Well, those points, as you guys remember, jumped from 15 to 30, depending upon your level of French and English, and 30 to 50. And if we just flip over here to the screen, CRS criteria, they just updated that. So let's go here and just take a quick peek and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Don't care about that. So we're going to the bottom here. We're going all the way to the other additional points. And you'll see right here, this used to be 15, this used to be 30. I cannot imagine that someone with French and at least a CLB4 or lower in English, and that's a 7 in French, and someone who has a CLB5 plus the French is going to get 50 extra points. Every single time the government tweaks this, it has a specific, well, let me just get rid of that. It has a significant effect on the processing of express entry. And the last time they increased it was back in 2017. They added 15 points for siblings and they added those points for French. And at that time, the scores had dropped down to 413. After that, there was no going back. It did not, it immediately jumped up over 440. And then on, it's just been all demand. So when we have open draws that include federal skilled workers, Canada has now become the destination of choice for so many people that now you're looking at, if you want to have a chance, you have to have better than a CLB7 in language. You have to have a master's degree, not be much older than 29 years old, and you have to have at least 3 years of skilled work experience. If you don't have those guys and you're a federal skilled worker without a sibling in Canada or without speaking French, then it's not going to happen. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Okay, great question, Ravi. Appreciate it. Gate, hello to you. Okay, I love this. Mr. Khan, nope, I'm not giving any discounts for monthly subscriptions, my friend. It's already at $97 US. And because Mr. Khan brought it up, he seems like he asks every time. Guys, you have to understand the hundreds of hours that I put into creating this thing. So I'm going to go over here to exactly what he's talking about. And if you guys look in the description, you'll see that there is actually a discount that I have available for lifetime access to this. Now, I'm in the process of revamping it. I'm updating the information on, there's a new question about biometrics in one of the fields. And now there's those French points that have changed things a little bit. But in here, okay, you can go here, see our courses. And what my friend is asking about here is you have two choices. You can purchase the monthly subscription, which is only $97 US. Let's face it, guys. If you know you're going to be able to get in and get out quick, you could probably purchase it for a month and that's all you need to do. So no, I will not offer a discount on monthly access. That is something that I'm not going to do. If you want to check it out, you can go here, try for free. Now, the first two modules I'm going to be adjusting I have to update them, but it'll give you a feel for what the course really looks like. And then the last one is when you click purchase now right here and you go here and type in that code that all of you can see below in the description and you apply it, you get 50% off. That's $250 US. Like in Canadian, that's like what, $5,000? Anyways, it's that. So there we go. So I didn't intend to actually bring that one up, But hey, when the questions are asked, what do? You just kind of work with it. Okay, Mr. Khan. So nope, I'm not going to do that. Okay. All right. Here's a good question. This one's from Cybertruck. Fantastic. We'll try to pull this down a little bit. So Cybertruck says, can I move out of New Brunswick after arrival and receiving the PR card to another province? They do have a commitment letter signing culture by applicant who they nominate. Okay, guys, this is something that, and I'll be very critical. Okay, here now, Cybertruck. I'll be very, very critical. Each of these provinces has a limited number of nominations. The reason they're given those nominations is because they are trying to attract candidates that will actually live in those provinces versus filter off to the major centers in Canada. Me, as an immigration lawyer, I have to tell you the law. And the law is the Constitution, our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Boy, I've got things, lots of things on my brain. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms grants the freedom of mobility. But if you say to an officer that you are going to, you've got the nomination to New Brunswick, but really you want to live in Toronto, that can get your application refused because you have an obligation to demonstrate an ability to economically establish yourself in that province. They're the ones who nominated you. And aside from the legal explanation, my opinion is, man, if you got that nomination, there would be people all over the world that would kill to get that nomination. Maybe I shouldn't use that as a reference. That's probably not the greatest, but they would do anything to get it. And all that they're asking for you is to give New Brunswick a shot. So give them a shot. Don't already talk about moving away. Figure out how to make your life there. Figure out a way to make the province better. That's why they're trusting you. That's why they're placing faith in you for your nomination. All right. Okay. Moving on. Okay. Jagmeet, hello to you too. All right, let's see here. Okay, we've got a new subscriber here. Oh, Liliana. Hey, it's great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, and then we've got Darian here watching from Saudi Arabia. New subscriber here. Awesome. Welcome. Okay, let's see here. So Krishan says, I have jumped from 463 points to 483 points because I'm a French speaker. Do you think I have a chance to get an ITA now? Heck yeah, Krishan. Of course you're going to. Bearing any other inadmissibility, when it comes to the ITA portion, that computer system is going to pull you out on the very next draw if it's an open FSW. I'm assuming you're outside of Canada, you're not a CEC, but regardless, you will get drawn on the next ITA. I'm almost positive. Okay, I'll give it the 99.9% likelihood. All right. Okay, moving down here. Let's see. Who do we have next? Okay, does work experience gained during implied status of a post-grad work permit count for express entry? You can count the work experience from the date you submit your application. Full stop. Okay, let's see who else we have here. Okay, Samson says, we'll pull this down a little bit and we'll just move this down. He says, hey, Mark, I applied to Canada PR through express entry and my application status has been approved. So that, how can you help with me? Okay, I don't understand. I'm assuming you're overseas trapped, maybe. Is that the case? Well, the reality is you, my friend, just are bound by the travel restrictions and we are constantly dealing with it. And I'll tell you guys something else. The government is concerned about this. Why are they concerned about it? I'm going to flip my screen over here. I'm going to actually, let's see if I can take this off. I'm not sure if I can pull this off right now. There. Okay, I'm going to just do a little search and I'll show you why the government is concerned about this just like you. This right here, our government has a standing committee that is like kind of almost like a think tank to try to figure out what they're going to do to try to rectify certain issues. Anything that they feel really is important for the government to be aware about, to be aware of and to make changes, goes through this citizenship, the Standing Committee on Citizenship and Immigration. And right now, they are conducting hearings on the impact of COVID-19 on the immigration system right there. Okay, so they're in those meetings right now. They've invited me to come and offer my thoughts on the process. But if you want to learn kind of where the government's going, if you want to learn, at least the witnesses that they're inviting to come and speak and present, you can go here and check that out. It's just, you can just Google search CIM. That's kind of the acronym for it. And then Standing Committee on Citizenship and Immigration. And it's all it's all, you can watch it live, and there's opportunities to see kind of what they're thinking. And there's a number of advocacy groups for those of you who are trapped outside with expired COPRs. I think you guys there's enough of you out there now that there's huge issues, and we understand the pain. Like I do. People that have quit jobs, they pulled their kids out of school, all expecting to travel, and then COVID hit, right? So I hear you. I hear your pain, but go check that out. So in the coming weeks, they're going to let me know. I was going to speak on Friday. I was going to come via webcast, but it's probably going to be in the next couple of weeks that I'm going to join them, which is great. Then I have some more time to kind of see what's really important to them and then address it. Okay, let's go through here. Okay, people are asking about the ITAs. So if I skip your question, don't worry about it. I will get to it. Okay, so Amrita says, hey, is there any chance of getting an ITA at 465? I honestly feel if you're looking at the open draw, the one that's no program specific, I really think it's going to be very, very difficult and very unlikely that it's going to drop down to 465. Anything is possible. If they did this big, massive draw where they scooped out 10,000 people, then maybe. You know what? Let's just take a look. Let's just flip over here, and we're going to go back to the rounds of invitations, and let's see what we have here. So right now, you'll see as of October the 12th, and obviously these numbers have all increased. The question related to, let's see, I've got it up, 465. Okay, so if we're looking at 465 as that threshold, so let's see. So here's 451 to 460, 461 to 470. So we don't know how many of this 10,000 is at 465 or higher. But if we look at this, so 461 to 471, that's 10,500. Then we've got another, well, basically that's kind of 13,000 here. Then add another 14,000. And then there's going to be more as well. Some are going to be drawn out, but there's going to be probably around that same, if not a little bit more. So there's almost 14,000 right there in that range. So if we took maybe half of these, dropped it down 5,000, took it back down to around 9 or 10,000, and they did this massive draw that pulled out, and you can see here, they pulled out 4,500 in the last one. If they did this massive draw of about 10,000 people in one draw, it's possible that the scoop, when they're scooping it out, it may actually come down to this level. It's possible. It could. So that's, I guess anything is possible is what I'm saying here. All right, I'm just going to give this just a little bit of a focus there. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, moving back. Good times. Okay, next question. Okay, I think Shrey's asking questions about the delays. Guys, anything that relates to how long it's going to take to process overseas applications all relates to the country conditions, and it relates to the ability that IRCC has to get people back into the office and process more than just the skeleton kind of back office processes that they need, mailroom and things like that. Many of the offices, depending upon the country, are not operating at full capacity. And personally, I don't think until the travel restrictions are we going to see a lot of this movement. And so I feel for you, Shrey. It's really just, it's brutal. Like, it's brutal to have to wait because of this pandemic. And I feel for you guys, especially who are separated from close family members. And if you go back and if we just shift back here to what I was showing you with the, actually, did I even have the standing committee right here? You'll see some of the testimony that really represents exactly where you guys are at. The spouses that are separated, the confirmation of permanent resident that have expired, people that are trapped outside. You guys have been well represented so far in the first meeting. So the government is getting firsthand knowledge and direction on how this is actually impacting real people on the ground, their lives. And so you can see, you can go in here, you can read the briefs, you can check out the witnesses. And like I said, in a couple weeks, I will be there to speak. But yeah, there's been like David Ojo here. He's in Nigeria, and he's one of those, like, just like Emeka, just like you. He's an expired COPR, waiting, has done everything he can. Nothing's happened. Santa Ono here is representing international students who are being screwed essentially by this whole process. Chantel's a friend who's a lawyer in Ontario. She came and spoke in her personal capacity, and I will be speaking in my personal capacity as well. But yeah, this is, you know, and David, David Poon, Faces of Advocacy, man, he is awesome. You guys have to check him out. He's awesome. Good for him and what he's doing. And then spousal sponsorship advocates. So we've got Chantel Dubé, who really does a lot to try to promote the interests of spouses that have been negatively impacted by COVID. And this is what this round of hearings are all about. It's about getting information to the members of parliament. That's who attend. And you guys can see how this is structured. And I never meant to get into all of the logistics of how our government works here, but these are the members who are on the committee. They're all members of parliament. They've been elected by their ridings across the country. And some are chair, vice chair, and then the various members from the various political parties. All right. So there you go. A little education on how things work in the Canadian government. Okay, let's see here. We'll flip down. Okay, we have a couple more of those. I have to give a shout out to Ralph. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. Okay, okay, let's take a look here. Okay, Hader says, do I need to mention travel for my migration from country A to B, or that would just be considered residence change? Residence, my friend. So he's talking about, okay, if I move from one country to another and I've changed my address from that country to another, in the travel history section, do I need to list that as well as travel? No, I do not. I only list it if you're just traveling on a holiday or for business or temporarily to a different country, and then you're coming back to your residence. That's what I include in travel. Great question. I'm going to give Hader. That's an awesome one. In fact, I need to do a video just on that. Now, while we're going through this, and I can see there's a ton of people, I know I'm not going to be able to get through everybody's question, but I do want to let you guys know about something here. So if we flip over here, right on this resources page, I'm going to refresh this. Let's see if Igor's got it up yet. I'm not sure if he does. Okay. Oh, maybe not yet. It looks like the site is not quite ready. Okay, we'll see. Okay, just so that you guys know, a couple other things. Some of you are not going to be able to get all your questions answered. And if they are very specific, I'm going to ring that bell. And if it's a specific question that relates to your unique circumstances, that's legal advice. And I can't just give you advice without knowing all the facts. And a simple 2-sentence comment in a live stream online is not enough to give me the information I need to actually give you an accurate piece of advice. So I'll often ring that bell. I'll point you here. And I want you guys to look, and you can see all the information about our consults is listed here. And then I also have areas of focus. I realize that it's most important for us as lawyers to really hone in and not be a jack of all trades, but to be really, well, the Law Society says I can't be an expert. So I'm not an expert. I'm not. Law Society of Alberta says I can't say that, but I do focus my energies on express entry and corporate immigration. You can go in and you can book consults with me, and you can select your time. So you click book a 25-minute consult with Mark, and then you can find the next available time. Click on it, and then choose the time that works for you. It's as simple as that. So I actually really love how this is set up. So let's see if we can go back here to the consultations. You can see areas of focus for the other lawyers, Alicia, Susan. And then last week I had someone ask, Mark, what is your ICCRC number as your consultant number? Dude, we're immigration lawyers. We do not have to be registered with the Consultant Association to represent you. We have that inherent right as lawyers in Canada. Now, if you're wondering, and you've got some consultant or someone out there who's saying, I'm a lawyer, there's a way that you can check it. And for us, we're all located right now in Alberta, but you can click right here to verify your lawyer. And like I showed you before, this is the Law Society of Alberta site. I just type in my name here. You can even just last name. And I showed you guys some of this last week. And when you do a search, then what it does is it pulls up everybody that relates to that. And you can see here, Chase, cousin, he's up in Calgary working at Norton. Awesome guy. And then myself right here. Now you'll see here, I have to actually put my firm name. I don't know why my firm name's not showed here, but the city, we're a virtual firm. So we're not based in any one location. But I've also had people ask the question, where are you guys located? So if I go back here once again, couple jumps back, you will see where we actually live. And this is where we practice out of our homes. So Susan is up in Edmonton and she serves Edmonton and the world. Alicia's in Calgary and the world. And I am in Lethbridge and we service the world. So all of this is because you guys have asked the question and I wanted to be more transparent. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Let's get back to some more comments. Fantastic. Let's see here. Okay. Who is next? Okay. Dewey, good to see you. She said, it's been a while. Great to have you back. Okay. So I'll continue Shrey's question. Woo, this is a big one. It took up all the space. We'll back it off a little bit, pull it down. Shrey, if you have a dependent outside Canada, it doesn't matter if you're inside Canada, your application will still be stalled out. The same principles apply. If you were outside Canada coming in, or if you just have a dependent family member outside, you're still going to be stalled out because of the travel restrictions. Okay, yes, Edmonton, Ralph is up in Edmonton with Susan. Yes, you are, my friend. Okay, Maddie, hello. Good to see you. And we've got Andres up in Calgary. Sweet. And so is Igor. He's up in Calgary as well. And those of you who book consultations, you will interact with Marissa. And she's over in Toronto. So Marissa lives in Toronto. All right. Saida, hello to you. Rifat, hello. We've got Maddie. Yep, from Toronto. Excellent. Angie, we'll give you a shout out. Bass says, nice t-shirt. Yeah, can you guys see? I've got my little tiny Canadian Maple Leafs on there. Yeah, this is my Maple Leaf shirt today. Woo! Having fun, having fun. Okay, all right. Okay, Bangladesh, excellent. Doing good, Saida. Okay, so here's another question. Okay, can we apply? So Narpat says, can we apply for express entry if we are on the study visa? And does that impact study visa approval if we already have express entry profile created? Narpat, I get this question a ton. Canada has in its legislation the concept of dual intent. You can, at the same time, apply for and obtain temporary resident status while at the same time desiring to become a permanent resident. But in practice, and this is something that was also addressed in the standing committee, at least the last round of meetings, that permanent resident application can sometimes be what my good friend Chantal Deloge indicated is a kiss of death. So if you have a profile in the queue, an officer could use that as an indicator to basically say that you do not have an intention to return home after your temporary stay is over. So if you're outside of Canada, you have a profile in the pool and you're considering applying for a study permit, that can have a negative impact. Now, they can't say just because you have a profile in the pool, therefore you are not going to return back to your home country. They can't do that. That's too great of a logical leap and it is a reviewable error. So the decisions they make have to be reasonable. Now, when you are going through the process and you're already inside Canada on a study permit, absolutely you're going to go through the express entry process. And I guess ultimately I am saying that it depends on the country that you're coming from as well. So if you're coming from a country that requires a visa, immigration tends to be a little bit more difficult with you and tends to refuse temporary applications, whether it's a visitor study permit, even sometimes crazy work permits are refused if you've shown an intention or desire to become a permanent resident of Canada. So it's complicated and there's a number of different levels associated with it, but hopefully that makes sense for you. All right, let's see what we got next. Okay, hi Mark, GM. Good morning to you, I'm assuming. Starbucks girl, hello, good to see you back. Okay, this is my personal favorite. She says, okay, Sandra says here, does IP1 and IP2 stage of application really exist? I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, they exist. But like I've said repeatedly to people, every officer processes applications at a different rate. So it's possible that Officer A, who's processing your application, takes longer to get from IP1 stage to IP2 than Officer B. But understand, maybe Officer B takes longer to then advance to the next level. And so it's possible that applications, when you're going through, I'm trying to get it within my screen here, when you have applications from different people with different officers, it's possible that as they're going across, okay, let's try this. As they're going across here, if I can get the right angle, yes, that one is going to get ahead of another, and then the other one's going to catch up, and then the other one's going to get ahead. So I don't even pay attention to that stuff. Not at all. I really don't. If it's been a long time, then I'll do a GCMS request and figure out what the heck's going on. If there's something stalled out, or if I have a client who comes to me after the fact and says, Mark, I think I made a mistake, then we'll request we'll request the notes from the visa officer so we can see where exactly people are at within the GCMS system and the processing of their express entry. But I do not waste time about it. I don't. I know people have devoted websites to it and everything, and I'll probably do a video that kind of demystifies what the GCMS notes really mean. But at this stage, I don't worry about that stuff, Sandra. Okay. All right. We'll keep going down here. Narpat says, hey, can we claim 15 points for sibling in Canada living in Quebec under express entry? There's no restriction on that. There's no restriction. You could have a sibling in any country, and it doesn't matter. Sorry, in any province, it doesn't matter. There's no restrictions on that. Having points and having a sibling in Quebec, and you have an intention to reside in Toronto, that doesn't restrict it. But I'm going to give you a That was an awesome question. That's the kind of real high-level questions we like here. Okay. Okay, here's a good question. Okay, so this individual, my Tommy here, I love your handles, guys. He says, if you take a program that normally takes 1 year to finish, but you finish it longer, full time, is the post-grad work permit 1 year, or is it based on how long it took you to finish the program? Based on how long the program is. If it's a 1 year program and you just took longer to do it, it's still a 1 year program. So it's based on how that school designates that program. Okay. Hey, Dewey, thank you. Sharing your videos to all OFW groups. Thank you. I appreciate that. This is all meant to just help people, right? Well, of course, I want you guys to hire me. Like, I want you to go here to my site, and I want you guys to engage me to help you. And that reminds me something. Oh, while we're on that topic, is this self-serving for Mark? You bet it is. I honestly believe that every single person out there, I'm going to flip back to my podium here, my big diatribe. I honestly feel that every single one of you deserves the right to be able to hire an immigration lawyer. That is what our firm is all about. That is why I created the DIY course on express entry to make it more accessible. It's still me driving the ship. It's still me teaching you, even though it's not you retaining me directly. Those rates, the $247 or whatever it is, US to purchase access to the course, I spent hundreds of hours creating that, a complete video walkthrough of every single step. So that's one step that I try to make it reasonable and attainable and affordable for all of you to be able to hire an immigration lawyer. Okay, that's one. Two, I offer those consults, and the consultations are paid. Yes, they are. But often in that 25-minute, or that, if we flip back here, the 25-minute or the 50-minute consult, whatever you choose to book, we can tear through a ton of information and to help you so that you're not relying on just general information on the internet that you don't know whether or not you can trust, right? Remember, each of us here are a member of, and if we go back here, verify your lawyer, we're a member of the Law Society of Alberta. And if I click on that and open it up, it should take me to the main Law Society site. This is the Law Society of Alberta, and I am a member, and the other lawyers in my firm are members of the Law Society of Alberta. If we give you bad advice, you can file a complaint to the Law Society against us, and we could lose our ability to practice. So that's one of the most important things that I want you guys to understand. Consults are there to help you with as much or as little help as you need. Then finally, I used to practice in a traditional firm, and I'm going to go back to the big screen here. I used to practice in a traditional firm where I had paralegals, and they worked directly with my clients. I reviewed the application at the end before it went out. But with immigration, it is unbelievably volatile. And over the last few years, I couldn't sleep at night. Because what if I missed something? What if you told my paralegal something that they didn't understand was important and they didn't make mention of it? They didn't tell it to me. And then I'm just reviewing your application in isolation. I'm looking at what we've submitted in the portal. If it's express entry, I'm reviewing the application forms. If it's another Canadian immigration application, and I have very little opportunity to talk with you. So I took that process and I threw it out the door. I wish I had something I could throw. Do you remember before in the early days when I used to take the emails that came in and I'd throw the paper behind me? I should reinstitute that. That was kind of fun. Anyways, now we've decided, at least when I left that firm in December and started my own cloud-based immigration law firm, I shifted my model. And once again, how to give everybody the right to be represented by an immigration lawyer, I shifted. And if you want to know how that works, right here on our resource page, which Igor is going to fix up for us here. I'm not quite sure what happened. We'll try to redo it. I know he's been working hard to put a little button on here. And it's not quite where we want it, but that's okay. He's been working on the background, so it looks like we've got a little bit of a glitch here. But anyways, at the bottom here, yeah, we'll have to shift away from that because it looks like the page has got some issues. But hey, we're not web geniuses and we'll get it figured out. But what I'm trying to say is on the resource section here, when you go to our page, you go to resources and you click on it, it will show you a button at the bottom where you can click to get your questions answered if you weren't able to get them answered during the live stream today. So you can see, guys, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions that are coming through, and it's impossible to actually answer them correctly and still at the same time get to every person. So we're opening that up. Watch, we should have it set up this week. There should be a little resource, a little ask your question button that you can click and ask it in there. And it's limited in space, so you can't put like 4 paragraphs, because you guys know when I'm trying to do this here, anything that's large, like this one right here, takes up, even this few sentences. So it has to be short, concise. Okay, that's the key. But what I want to share is that in the, and I'm actually going to flip back to my screen here, what we have done, because lots of people are wondering, well, Mark, what is this? Well, if I go to the main site here, you can see this is about immigration representation done better. And it's all about, what makes us so special, how we work. When you click on this, you'll see that our whole firm is client-centered and firm-supported. What does that mean? Well, it's all broken down here. What the collaborative review model really is. It talks about how it works. It talks about how it compares with other representatives and how to start your journey. So I'd encourage you guys to go check that out. All right, let's jump back and get to some more questions from our amazing listeners. Okay. Okay, so Parth says, hey, approvals, when can we expect approvals of our express entry applications, considering the new immigration policy? Well, guys, remember, those applications are going to start being processed. If you're outside, if you're outside Canada, an outlander, understand that you are bound, at least in the situation that you're in right now, because of the travel restrictions. Once everything opens up, in my mind, at least when I'm thinking about this, it really relates back to a vaccine, guys. And if there's a vaccine and then that is removed from the, from the process, then I think that's when things are going to open up a lot more. Although there may be different, things put in place right now. The Alberta ports of entry are experimenting with more restrictive testing and not requiring people to quarantine for as long. But right now, there's just still a lot of uncertainty about everything. And so immigration is being very cautious. I wish I had better news for you guys, but that is the reality. Okay, here's a question. Will there be a draw today? Well, will there? Let's go back and take a peek and see if there will be a draw today. Let's see. So we go back here. Let's refresh the page. See if there's been any changes. I don't see a change. Nope, not yet. Not yet. All right, keeping going down here. Okay, let's see. Rami, let's see what he says here. He says, hey, I've received my acknowledgement of receipt mid-September, and I was notified by IRCC that meds and eligibility have passed, but I'm still stuck with security. When do I expect them to start my security check? wow, if you got your acknowledgement of receipt mid-September, I'm not sure if you're inside Canada, Remy, or if you're outside Canada, but the reality is for you, you're in the same situation as everybody else. When it comes to security checks, often the inability to obtain those security checks in some countries because of the travel restrictions, because of the social distancing, because of the lockdowns in your particular country. And you can see Canada has never had more spread of the virus than they have today, even from the beginning. So that's the same in many other countries. So we are in real uncertain times. These are uncharted waters we're sailing, Rami. And so with your application just being submitted in September, you are well within the processing times. And I would not expect to see anything for months. I'm serious. All right. But that is a good question. Thank you. Same thing, Godfrey. They'll open, I think, when there's a vaccine. That's my belief. Okay. Okay, this is a classic one right here from Amaresh. We'll back it off just a little bit. So you can see here for foreign worker streams, my employer is not giving employer form even though they meet criteria. What are my options? Have offer letter though, an email proof that they will not provide employment. I'm going to ring that one, Amaresh. I'm going to ring that one, my friend. And then I'm going to advise you to go right over here to our website and book a consult so that we can go through this. The reason I say that, and I think we still got your image on there, but whatever, you can see. The reason I say that is because every person's situation is different. But there are certain things, if you can't get the letter from the company, I will often try to get some confirmation via email saying, no, we refuse to do it. Then, yes, I'll use the offer letter. I'll use everything I can get my hands on to try to establish and prove that I actually did the work that I said I did. Now, I'll show you guys something else that I haven't done for a while. And many of you who are watching this on YouTube and those who are on Facebook, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to show you guys something here. If you go to my site, and I'm going to open this up. Hey, there I am live. What do you know? So if I go to my channel right here, in the right here, you can see there's a little search. And if I type in here, reference letter, let's type that in search. I have hundreds of videos. How to know if your reference letter works. And express entry number 2, no reference letter. What to do if my employer will not give me a reference letter? Why do employment reference letters get rejected? What to do if your employer won't give you one? So just search, guys. There's a wealth of information on here. And I often am answering the questions over and over. Wait a minute. I'm not sharing my screen with you guys. Oh, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Okay, so you go to my site here, and then on the right side, I'm actually going to delete this out of here. So you'll see, oh, that's not the one I want. Hey guys, Mark Holthe here. I just want to jump on as the founder of this group and show you that I am alive. I am actually. Okay, let's go back here where I want to be. You go to the Canadian Immigration Institute. You won't have this stuff because this is all my my analytics. But yeah, here's my live feed. Great. But basically, you're going to go to the Canadian Immigration Institute right where you're watching now. And then on the right here, you're going to type in the search and you're going to type in a reference letter, right? Reference letter right here. And then it will pull up any of the titles that relate to it. And I've got a ton of information, including, you know, why you should not use template reference letters, duties need to be written exactly, employer reference letters, no reference letter, what to do if your employer won't give you a reference letter. That one sounds pretty good. So there's the tip of the day, guys. Go and look at the videos. There is tons of awesome videos and content for you. Okay, and many of you aren't even aware of it. And there hasn't been a lot of changes with Express Entry over the last 3-4 years. There really hasn't, not with the substantive stuff. So all of that evergreen, it's really evergreen, a lot of that content for you. Okay, let's keep cruising down here. Okay, let's see here. Lots of people are asking when the next draw will be. Will you be high enough? I think we've talked about that quite a bit. Okay, so Mooncake here says, hey, do I need to submit certified photocopies for all my documents which I've translated, even though I submitted the original document? The answer is absolutely yes. And why do I say that, Mooncake? Well, let's take a look here. We're going to flip over here. We're going to go back to the website. I am going to pull up a brand new one, which is called the EE completeness check. I've looked it up so many times that it pops up easily when I'm Googling it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down at the very beginning here. So requirement to submit a complete electronic application. Well, let's start. What is this site right here? You can search this if you want. This site is what the officers really, what they follow in terms of policy as to what they will accept for documents. And what we're looking for right here is document checklist, translation of documents, okay? If a supporting document is in a language other than English or French, the applicant must, right here, and maybe I'll just do a little ring so that you guys can see, must provide IRCC with the English or French translation, duh, and an affidavit from the person who completed the translation, yes. And even if you include a copy of the original, you need to include a certified photocopy of the original. I have seen people's applications rejected because they did not take this step. So there you go. All right. Okay, we are getting close to wrapping this bad boy up. A couple things I want to let you know. One is this, and I'm going to remind those who jumped in. We'll see if this, we'll see. Actually, I'm going to jump back here to this screen. A couple things I want to let you know. This one right here, see if this will now officially come up. Right here, remember, if you enter coupon code DIY, EEDIY 50, when you're registering for the EEDIY course, you'll get 50% off. Okay, remember that, remember it. Okay, that is something that I want you guys to know that it's available for all of you. All right, let's keep going here. My Tommy, I'm going to pull this up. You have no idea, my Tommy, how many times I've started this process and never finished. The problem that I have is I'm a perfectionist. And so what my Tommy is saying, hey, Mark, can you create, essentially, if we flip over here, can you create this equivalent guide for the study permit process? And my friend, that has been on my radar for a long time. And yes, now that I'm getting a good team around me and I'm starting to get a good idea of how to, work some of my systems more efficiently, I am going to do that. Thank you for asking that. Okay, Gate, I got a sibling in Canada. Can they sponsor me? Not normally. The family class is restricted to dependent children, spouses, grandparents. There is kind of some orphan provisions, but generally speaking, and I don't know your full situation, generally speaking, Gate, one adult sibling can't sponsor another adult sibling through the federal immigration programs. Okay? All right. And let's see here. Yeah, this is, and I hear you, Elaine. She says the waiting time becomes extremely long and unfair to applicants as it becomes extremely difficult to plan for departure. Yes, I want to flip you back once again. Let's see if I can find this. I'm trying to remember which one I was on. Yeah, let's jump back here for a second. And in your situation, I want to push you back here and I want you to go into the impact of COVID-19, and you guys should go and watch and listen to the testimony here of, open it up, of David Ojo right here. And you can watch it, you can hear him talk, and he explains and articulates very well exactly the struggles that you guys are going through. And so his voice is being representative of all of you who are stuck in this horrible limbo, not knowing what the future is going to hold for you. All right, moving on. Man says 75% off. Do you know what, man? I should actually take the cost of the course and increase it. That's what I should do. but I'm not going to do that. Oh, I just accidentally deleted that. I don't want to delete that. The fun and enjoyment of doing your own tech live while you're doing a live stream. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So here's a good question. El Yasser says, hey, what are my chances, of using Express Entry as a NOC? 0. Express Entry only accepts work experience that is a skill level B or higher. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. And Junior Icon says, hey, I was listening to he's from Goa, India. I was listening to your podcast. Lovely information. Thanks. Stay safe. Stay blessed, Mark. Those of you who don't know what he's talking about, I've got a ton of things out here, right? But one of the things that I'm really the most probably proud of is how it all got started, which was this right here, which is my Canadian immigration podcast. And so I just released a really neat one. Does Canada need an investor immigration program similar to the American EB-5? And so you have to check that out. It's really neat. And then I've got a ton of other ones. Hearings and appeals. We've brought in guests, how Trump's new restrictions on foreign workers really benefit Canada. Like, yeah, I've got podcast, I've got the video, I've got a ton of different things that are available for you guys. Okay, thanks for shouting out. Okay, Iman, your question, it's as good as mine. Our CEC draw is coming, we just do not know. Okay, Karoya says, can I use the free trade agreement between Canada and my country, LMI exemption, to increase my points for the express entry? The only way you can is if that agreement, that international agreement that Canada has with your country allows you to get a work permit that is employer specific for you to come to Canada on that work permit and work for 1 year for that employer. Then you can get 50 points if it's a skill level 0 or lower. And if it's a senior executive level, 00, you can get an extra 200 points. So that's how it works. But you can't just because of the treaty get extra points in any way. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. Okay, here's a good one right here. So Karthik says, hey, I didn't complete the full 3 years experience before I got the ITA based on months. Can I accept it and proceed? Now, do you guys see how Karthik's question is so very, very specific? There are so many pieces to this question, Karthik, that I cannot answer in this. And like all of these, when I ring that bell, then exactly what I do after that is I click on here and show you this. And once again, I've got your image over this. So this is really one that has to be answered. It's really one of these. So I recommend that you go down and book a consult with me, and we can determine whether or not you need to withdraw that and decline the invitation, or whether you can proceed forward based on where you're sitting in terms of your work history. Okay, but that's a great question, Karthik. Okay. Okay, Mooncake says, hey, wouldn't 2 full-time jobs at the same time create a problem in my personal history? Well, possibly, but if you actually worked 2 full-time jobs, then it's the truth. It's just a matter of how you present it. Once again, Mooncake, I'll probably give you one of these as well, because that one I know really relates specifically to you, and every person is different. So any advice that I try to give you would probably, I just wouldn't want to take a chance. Okay. Okay. So if Andre says, hey, what's this issue about biometrics? He says, what's the information for in Canada applicants? Is it true that IRCC will contact to schedule appointments? Yes, they will. They will call you on the phone number that's in your application. If it's counsel, if your representative is the phone number, then they will call that number to book. So they're going through that process right now to book those biometrics for people inside Canada. Okay. Okay. So Amrith says, hey, thanks for the Q&As. You're very welcome. They're very informative. My question is, college teaching experience in a field considered as work experience in the same field? I'm not sure if you're asking about like research assistant, teaching assistant when you're going through. It doesn't matter what it is as long as you meet the minimum requirements of that foreign work experience. And what I mean by that is the Federal Skilled Worker Program establishes what the minimum requirements are. And do you know what? I'm going to finish off with Amrit. I'm going to finish off with your question. So if you are, let's say, completing your PhD and you're also teaching and you're getting paid for it, then I have had no issues claiming and getting that work experience accepted. Why? Because legally it's 100% okay to have it. But let's just take a quick look. We're going to flip back here. I'm going to take you off here, and we're going to go and we're going to finish off with the FSW eligibility. And I want to show you guys this. This isn't even the law. This is what the government has put outward for you, for people to understand how the process works. What we're going to go to right here is the skilled work experience section. As long as your skilled work experience is skilled, 0 A or B, and as long as your experience, and you can see it must be right here in the same type of job. Okay, so all through the assessment of the Federal Skilled Worker Program, just the Federal Skilled Worker Program, it requires that it be in the same NOC. Within the last 10 years, it has to have been paid. You have to meet at least 1 year of continuous work, and you can see how that's broken down. As long as you meet these right here, okay, and in the process of doing it, you have to show that you performed right here the duties set out in the lead statement of the occupational description and the essential duties and most of the main duties listed. When they say most of the main duties listed, what that means is a substantial number. That's what the regulations state. And substantial is anywhere around 70-75%, might be substantial, but you make the case. All right. So if you meet those requirements, if you hit on all of those areas, then hey, you are in really, really good shape. And once again, we'll finish off here, guys. Remember, all you have to do is go to the Canadian Immigration Institute, punch in when you select the Express Entry DIY course, punch in that coupon code EEDIY50, and you're laughing. Those of you who weren't able to get your specific question answered, book a consult. Go to our website, do that. And last but not least, this is Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, not a consultant. I'm an immigration lawyer, and I'm here to just help. I hope you guys have enjoyed this live Q&A. It's as awesome as it is because of the questions that you guys post. So thank you. And as I look at the number of comments that I never got to, there are tons. And I want to apologize for those of you who I was not able to connect and answer your question. Go back to our resource section, and Igor's going to have this figured out here. I know he will. On our website, there's this resource section right here. We'll go to the homepage so that you guys can see. holthelaw.com. This resource section at the bottom, if you scroll down, there will be a button where you can post your question. But remember, as I've been going through this here, there is only so room to fit a question in here. So it can't be long, and you will actually be restricted by character. Okay? If you pay me better salary than other companies, pay me, leave Somalia. Okay, and we'll end on that positive note. All right. Thank you so much, you guys. It has been just an awesome, awesome live Q&A today. I'm so grateful that the feed worked, and we'll see how this plays out in the future. We're trying to work out a few things. We'll turn that critter off, and we'll turn that one off. It seems like everything is going crazy on me here. Okay. Oh, hey, we've got something else coming in there. Oh, and we got that one coming in. Oh, this is so awesome. Now, this is how you end a live stream in style, right? With your overlays taking over your whole screen and your inability to turn them off. All right, well, let's end. And thank you guys so much for joining. Come back again next week, next Wednesday at 10 a.m. and we'll have another live Q&A. All right, I guess we'll see how that crazy US election ends down south. Probably. I wonder if it'll even be done by next week. See you later.